In our world, the Japanese first interacted with the Western world during the Age of Exploration at Nanban trade. This happened when a Portuguese trading ship was blown off course on the island of Tanegashima, south of Kyushu, in 1542, bringing with it Catholic Christianity. Less than a century later, the newly united Tokugawa shogunate enacted Sakoku, banned Christianity, and crushed the Christian peasant Shimabara revolt. From this, Christianity was destroyed or was forced to hide, only being accepted back when the Japanese opened up after more than 200 years. But what if the Japanese Empire began to follow a branch of syncretic Christian faith that became its state religion during the Edo period? Greetings, saints and sinners! Fear not, because here is Angel Mike bringing you the revelation of this alternate orthodoxy. In this introductory video, I will reveal the point of diversion which would result in this new movement and the basic summary of their beliefs. So, let's play the intro and enjoy the message. Before showing you the alternate narrative of this scenario, we should understand why the Japanese Empire felt it had to ban Christianity, or its local term Kirishitan. For a brief summary, the Japanese Empire was experiencing the Sengoku period or Warring States period during the 15th and 16th century. Constant civil wars are happening between the increasing power of various local daimyo. So, the first unifier, Oda Nobunaga, launched a campaign to bring order across the nation. Through this campaign, he successfully abolished the fractured Ashikaga shogunate in 1573. But before completely uniting Japan, he and his heir, Oda Nobutada, died at Honnoji incident due to internal rebellion in 1582. After which, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a retainer of Nobunaga, avenged him and continued his campaign, thus becoming the second unifier of Japan. Even though he came from a peasant background, he successfully united all local powers and established himself as the Kampaku or Imperial Regent in 1591. Following Oda's dreams of conquering China, he first launched his war on Korea in 1592 but failed to create a permanent settlement there until he died in 1598. During his death, his heir was just 5 years old, so the Council of Five Elders was tasked to ensure the heir's succession with additional 5 commissioners to lead the administration of Kyoto. But eventually, a power struggle happened where it culminated at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, wherein Tokugawa Ieyasu became the victor against the forces led by Ishida Mitsunari, thus becoming the third unifier as he officially established the Tokugawa shogunate in 1603 at his new capital Edo. He then enacted Sakoku, thus officially beginning the isolationist policy of Japan. At the Siege of Osaka in 1615, Tokugawa forces officially ended the Kampaku Toyotomi faction when he forced the son, Toyotomi Hideyori, to commit seppuku. During these times of unification, there is a varying degree of toleration and condemnation for foreign missionaries and their faith. Japan accepted them during Oda's time for trade and as a distraction for opposing Buddhist monks. But Japan also rejected them during Toyotomi's time when he banned Christianity in 1587 and persecuted 26 believers in 1597. During Tokugawa's time, the foreign Christian faith was viewed as a disruption to existing ancient local traditions while also being feared as a tool for foreign colonization. So, the shogunate issued the 1614 Christian Expulsion Edict. The isolationist policies were clear. Hence, by 1622, 55 Kirishitan were executed, including children of 5 and 6 years old at what was called the Great Kenna Martyrdom. By 1638, The Shimabara Rebellion was ignited by Kirishitan peasants against the Tokugawa shogunate. However, reality didn't favor the rebels, and their movement was defeated when their 17-year-old figurehead, Amakusa Shiro, was executed and their Hara castle was demolished. Since then, all crew members of ships containing missionaries were executed, and Kirishitan was purged. One of the ways they test if you are a Kirishitan is by demanding you to step and desecrate the image of Jesus Christ or Virgin Mary. Being Kirishitan leads you to torture into deconversion or death. Kirishitan faith clashes with the goal of Japanese unification, so the faith was needed to be purged or suppressed. In this reality, that was the case. But what if a nationalistic branch of Kirishitan not just survived but thrived in unified Japan? In this video series, I would not like to involve the Portuguese or Spanish in this Japanese Christianization. Catholic evangelization and colonization has this tendency of syncretizing local practices but ultimately leading them to the orthodox doctrines and context of the church. I think that if they are involved, Japanese Kirishitan would just be another expression of Catholic faith with just unique folk traditions within them like Irish, Mexican, or Filipino Catholics. I like to imagine that isolated Japan would take Christianity without the guidance of the church and create their own theologies with it. Japanese have this culture of learning from others but then synthesizing it into their own. They took the Chinese characters and made it their own. They took Buddhism and made it their own. They took Western Victorian fashion and made it their own. And they took American animation and made it their own. So, I like that, but for Christianity, I would like to construct a fictional narrative where a unique and nationalistic Kirishitan would thrive within a unified and isolated Tokugawa Japan where they are not hostile but integrated within the ruling shogunate and its empire. For every alternate expression of faith, a charismatic founder is needed. And for this narrative, I imagine it to be Oda Hidenobu. In this, he is not simply a head of the Oda clan and convert of Catholicism, but he became an influential spiritual prophet across the empire. Let me explain. In our history, Hidenobu is a tragedy. When he's just 2 years old, both his grandfather and his heir father died, meaning the Oda family went into trouble of succession. Two of his uncles were insisting to be the heir, but ultimately, Toyotomi forced succession into him. This resulted in one of his uncles, Nobukatsu, to decline in influence, while his other uncle, Nobutaka, to commit seppuku after a failed rebellion. Then, at just 20 years old, his vassals at Gifu Castle committed seppuku when they were defeated at the Battle of Sekigahara, after which he died 5 years later. Even though he has this tragic story, I choose Oda Hidenobu because his privileged position as being both a Kirishitan and an heir to one of the unifiers would accelerate the formation and spreading of a unique sect of Kirishitan. Even in our timeline, there is an urban legend of Amakusa Shiro being an illegitimate son of Toyotomi Hideyori that emerged so that they can legitimize their Shimabara rebellion. Using his privileges, he can learn the foreign Bible and he can obtain various local religious texts not accessible to common men such as Kojiki and Nihon Shoki. So, in this timeline, Hidenobu forgoes being the head of the clan and seeks divine understanding after learning the foreign Kirishitan faith in 1595 at 15. Of course, even though he thinks he has a calling, leaving the palace of his family and its responsibility is a hard thing to do, unless his uncle Oda Nobutaka is still alive and assumes familiar responsibility in his place. For this to happen, Nobutaka didn't fight Toyotomi Hideyoshi like in our timeline and bitterly accepted Hidenobu as the heir of the family. So, by the time his heir-nephew found faith, he quickly snatched the opportunity and became the head of Gifu Castle as the Oda Daimyo. Hidenobu, at the age of 15, isolated himself with various local faiths like Shintoism and Buddhism, while mixing the foreign Kirishitan to make sense of his growing faith. During these times, his active contention with Kirishitan is its view that creatures and the divine are ultimately different. Local traditions of Shintoism focus on the way of the kami, Kami can mean deities, divine beings, spirits, or natural forces that exist within all reality. This then dictates that the natural and supernatural realities are not different from one another, but all humans and kami inhabit the same reality. It's just that the supernatural heaven was separated from the heavy earth at the beginning. Only through purity, sincerity, respect, gratitude, and harmony with nature and their kami do we gain the wisdom and blessings of their ways. Moreover, Buddhism tells that reality itself is impermanent and beings are in constant reincarnation. This then leads to suffering brought by our attachments and desires on worldly temporary pleasures. Hence, disregarding desires through following the Eightfold Path will lead to enlightenment or nirvana, which is freedom from suffering and reincarnation. Hence, he was bothered by the seemingly special place of men in the world, the eternal hell, and the original sin of Kirishitan. Moreover, I like to think he's not comfortable with the idea that the ancestors his people venerated now are suddenly in eternal hell, which is a concept he still can't fully understand. After these readings, his uncle exiled him away from the castle shortly before the Battle of Sekigahara. The reasoning of his uncle is he wants him to explore his fate outside the confines and pleasures of the castle, but deep down, he kinda wanted him to end up dead in this isolation. I would then like to imagine that Gifu, under the leadership of Nobutaka, would join the forces of Tokugawa during his campaigns since he still holds a grudge against Toyotomi forces, which is crucial for later narrative. Hence, the Battle of Sekigahara would then be moved somewhere west if the Gifu castle is allied with Tokugawa. Hidenobu isolated himself and traveled across the empire to actively search and deepen his faith during this time. He also conversed with foreigners during the time when the Dutch were formalizing their trade relations with Japan. From them, he learned map navigation during this Western Age of Discovery where he felt transcendental, spiritual experience for the gravitas of a much larger world. Moreover, he learned about Protestantism wherein the Kirishitan community is not exclusive to the church. It fascinates him that the Kirishitan faith has multiple expressions. From these readings, travels, and encounters, he personally believes that he gained deeper understanding and divine revelations. Through immersing himself with these various ideas, syncretism and harmonization happened between their competing theologies. After 10 years of the Battle of Sekigahara, he began preaching his version of Kirishitan as he claimed to have compiled various divine revelations at the age of 30. In this alternate history, Oda Hidenobu began his ministry in 1610 at the Kirishitan concentrated community in Kyushu. He chose for the people to call him Sensei Nobu, meaning trust, faith, or sincerity, to hide his background. His new theology is presented as a natural continuation of Shintoism, Buddhism, and Kirishitan. In summary, he viewed all creations, including humans, animals, and the world, as all kami in their pure forms. So, ontologically, there is no distinction between the divine and creatures. Also, he taught that there exists a transcendental kami of kami, which is the personification of Dharma and which the West called God. As inspired by Kirishitan, he believed that the great kami is triune in person and he syncretized them with the first three kami of Shinto. In this new theological cosmology, the great kami separated heaven with its pure elements and earth with its burdens and suffering during creation. This separation happened because our ancestral kami became too heavy with desires, so heavy lands like this earth were created. Moreover, creatures within these heavy lands like us eternally reincarnate since we are heavy for the heavens. From this separation, we suffer endlessly as we become attached with worldly desires. So, nirvana or salvation in his view is escaping reincarnation through purification of our heavy desire towards enlightenment or unification with the pure kami. To help us, the eternal kami was incarnated as the human Jesus from the West to lead us towards salvation. In his view, believing in Christ would lead us towards purification and enlightenment. Moreover, he claimed that the shogunate, emperor, and his ministry will lead the world towards salvation as they were descendants of the blessed Amaterasu and the Divine. Following the start of his ministry, he traveled and taught westward with his loyal disciples. His message is a novel but familiar to the masses, so his followers increased. However, both foreign missionaries and local religious devotees hated his message. The Catholic detest him for his heresies while the locals are skeptical of his revelations. From this evangelization, his movement was labeled by the Catholic as Nobuism or the cult of Taka among others, as they don't claim his movement as part of the Christian community. One of the names that stuck is Azuma Kirishitan or Iskirishitan, which became the common name for this movement. After around 3 years of gaining followers, he went back to his hometown of Gifu. From there, he reunited with his uncle and disclosed that he is his lost nephew. He told his personal revelations to his uncle and says that he forgives him for exiling him. Then, he claimed that he was on an urgent mission to transform the spirit of the empire towards its destiny. Moved by his words, he believed his nephew and the household were baptized to the faith. Shortly after his reunion with his uncle, the Tokugawa shogunate heard about the movement and they wanted to assess its effect on the newly unified empire. They became intrigued with Iskirishitan, especially the claim that the shogunate and the imperial family will lead the empire to be the spiritual forerunner in the salvation of the world. Hence, Tokugawa Ieyasu, through his son Hidetada, invited the prophet and the emperor Go-Mizuno to convene in his castle at Edo. In this meeting, he was escorted by his followers and the Oda samurai. Tokugawa questioned Hidenobu for his insights and loyalty. Nobu explained that his message is not there to undermine the shogunate and the imperial family, but to complement it. He explained, in Kirishitan, it is said that, for there are three that bear record in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Holy Kami, and these three are one. And there are three that bear witness in the earth, the Kami, the water, and the blood, and these three agree in one. So too, there are three that bear performance in an empire, the Tenno, the Shogun, and now the Daijin. And all these three also agree in one. He further clarified that serving the Triune Kami is also serving the Shogun and the Emperor, since the victory of the Kami is the victory of the Empire, since it will give glory, salvation, and spiritual unity to the Empire. He also asserted that their victory is also the victory of the Kami, as the truth of salvation will spread first across the empire and then across the world. He then proceeds to bravely and with conviction assert their roles. The Tenno is the Koyu or the inherent divinity which symbolizes the unified divine blessings of the empire. The Taishogun is the Seishin or the will which protects the divine rights of the empire. And Daijin, his ministry, is the Chie or the wisdom that guides the empire towards divinity. He also asserts that Iskirishitan fulfills the way of Kami, Dharma, and Christ, further advancing the narrative that his religious movement is the fulfillment of revelation towards salvation. He claims that he has the complete truth since his revelations fulfills and unites the Western foreign and Eastern indigenous truths. Hidetada, with his Tokugawa shogunate, and the emperor with his royal family converted to Iskirishitan and were baptized to the faith. However, I can still see Tokugawa Ieyasu being cautious of foreign Kirishitan since he still worries about their possible colonialism. However, he will force Kirishitan members to convert into Iskirishitan to unify them or suffer persecution. I can see that many of the martyrdom will still happen after this, especially that which relates to foreign missionaries. The religion's name officially became Azuma Kirishitan no Taisha, or the Great Shrine of the East Christians. Furthermore, in this scenario, I can see daimyos turning into Iskirishitan as a sign of allegiance to the religion of the ruling shogunate and the emperor. So by the time of succeeding Tokugawa Iemitsu and Empress Meisho, Iskirishitan was established as the state religion in 1640. From there, I can see the religion be solidified and title of Daijin be formalized. The reign of Oda Hidenobu as the first Daijin of Iskirishitan ended around 1648 on his death, with his successors enforcing and solidifying this state religion. However, I can still see that religious rebellions on the scale of Shimabara Rebellion can still happen, but now in the context from the old guards of the Christian Catholicism, Buddhist monks, and Shintoism. From these alternate fictional events, Japanese history and traditions would change drastically. For that, you should come back for future videos as this introduction video is getting long. For this series, I plan to post at least 5 more videos. This video tackles the introductory world building for Iskirichitan series, while the succeeding videos will show its theology, expansion, and development up to their version of modern world. To know more about the goal of the channel, please click at the channel introductory video on your screen. And if you want to watch the nuanced theology of this alternate history, click the continuation video also linked at the screen. If you are intrigued by the revelations within this video, please like and comment your thoughts down below. Also, if you want to watch more content like this, kindly subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications to see updates whenever I post. This is appreciated as it will greatly help me boost this new channel. This is Angel Mike. See you in the next revelation and God be with ya.